Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Okay, let me see who's here. I'm going to go all the way to the beginning. And Mary H., thank you so much for being here first on Royal Sussex. Let's see, Sister and Cece, Carlene Beckford, Sharon Augustine, Leisha, Lola Love, Lorna Williams, Mary H., J. Matt, Sonia Johnson, Carol, Janine Bell, Sharon Augustine, Judy Mutasid. I'm glad we got there, Judy. Now I can never forget. Uh, Lydia Washington, Gwendolyn Daniels, okay, Yulibi, Lee Bryant, Kim Peaches, Regina Mercedes. Okay. Janice Goodrich. Okay, I'm just gonna Joyce Yvette Davis. I'm gonna scroll all the way to the very beginning. Actually, I mean all the way to the last. Okay. Well, I took a nap again today. I was prepping hours ago, and then that something said, "Fool, go lay back down." All right. So here I am. I just ate dinner, and well, anyway, happy October 1st. I always feel very sentimental this time of year, October. Another summer has passed, the leaves are starting to turn brown. All of these things are happening. I planted some mums. I didn't know that they don't bloom until August, but they will come back. The bad news is they won't bloom again until August, but yeah, I planted some mums for the fall. Okay, let me go ahead and get started then. Hello, Myra V. Rosemary King, Church Nellie. Hey, Church Nellie, Tash Mac. Okay. All right, so here goes. I'm going to make myself disappear. Is the microphone too far away? Let me move it a little closer. Put it a little closer to these soup coolers of mine. There we go. I was thinking about investing in another microphone, but why bother? Because nobody ever complains about this one. So I think it works just fine. H. Knight, thank you so much for 17 months membership, and hi to you too. Thank you very much for 17 months membership. Hey, Big Mama. Oh, October is your birth month. Yeah, I got a lot of Libras that I think about this time of year. Lots of Libras. And I always say for us Scorpios, the only reason why I'm here is because somebody caught a chill last February, or should I say in the month of February. And well, 9 months later, there I was. So, yeah, something about people catching the chill, but I guess you can catch a chill in January too, huh? Uh, uh, well, that's the birds and the bees for you, all in a encapsulated in just a few short words. My feet are cold. Come and warm my feet. And next thing you know, here comes the baby. All right. So, okay, there we go. And here. Happy 99th birthday, President Carter. President James Earl Carter. Um, okay. I have vivid memories of Jimmy Carter. And I just remember how excited my father was because Jimmy Carter was president, and it was a chance for us to have another Democrat in the White House and all those things. So I guess he was like the first Democrat president that I really followed. And Yeah, so I just have a lot of fond memories about him. MR, thank you so much for the Cash App, and thank you as always for watching Royal Sussex. So I remember, of course, um, the some of the sadder times that really cost Jimmy Carter his presidency, and that was, of course, the hostages. I believe it was 444 days, was it? They had took hostages in Iran, and well, he worked diligently to the absolute last moment. And let me just say this: I really do think that they had made a deal with the Republicans to set the hostages free the very moment that Ronald Reagan was sworn into office. I believe that that was a setup. And, Jimmy Carter, I always tell people, and I don't mean to start any arguments. This is not a slight on anybody else, but Jimmy Carter is the most honest president that I have ever known in my lifetime. Not a perfect man by any stretch. No one's perfect, but honest. I would vouch for his integrity any day of the week, any day of the year. Very, very pious, honest man. So honest that sometimes it has gotten him into terrible trouble. um, it has given weapons to his enemies because of his honesty. Um, and of course, devoted to his wife, to his family, to his religion. And like any president, he had his brother Billy. Remember Billy's beer? He had a brother Billy, the wayward brother Billy, that was the um, comic relief of the White House at that time. And of course, they were brutal to Amy Carter. One of the things that people may forget is that the Carters brought a young daughter to the White House. Um, and I remember Amy and also Walter Fritz Mondale. Again, another extremely honest man. So I feel a connection to Jimmy Carter for all of the reasons that I mentioned. Um, Plains, Georgia, the peanut farmer. And, there was a time when people actually would get to the White House. So far, men would get to the White House and they would put their finances in a blind trust. And that's exactly what Jimmy Carter did. Contrast that with the Orange Menace, who actively made money while he was in the White House, even though he promised that he would put his kids in charge. Nobody could do it like he could. Nobody could grift like him. So, Jimmy Carter, when he left the White House, let us not forget that he was pretty much penniless. He was broke. Um, and of course, uh, brokering peace in the Middle East, those types of things that he did. He's legendary for that. So, yes, he only had a 4-year term. He didn't win his next term as president. And that was unfortunate. That was really unfortunate. I was not a fan of Ronald Wilson Reagan. And I feel like my lack of enthusiasm for Reagan was justified by the way he conducted himself. So, again, one of my favorites who has ever graced that office, Jimmy Carter. And speaking of the presidency, the Biden administration, they put I'm not even sure what that is. It looks like candles or or something. But happy birthday, President Carter. And that, of course, is the north portico of the White House, I believe. That's the north entrance. And yeah, I believe that's the north side of the White House. The White House that the British burned down. That is actually a very funny story, but I'll save that for another time. But if you are not really caught up on American history. Back during the War of 1812, the British tried to burn the White House, but because the walls are about 4 feet thick, they left it a charred shell of a building. Um, it survived just barely, but no, it really is funny. It's not just my warped sense of humor. It was a funny story. Um, well, what the hell? Okay, so Dolly Madison, I believe it was Dolly Madison, was the first lady. James Madison was the president. She was planning dinner at the White House, and well, the Southern troops were making their way into Washington. I mean, they were literally so close you can hear the cannons in the distance. And so every so often there would be a knock on the door, and you would hear someone say, it was a calling card from someone saying that I won't be able to make it to dinner. I won't be able to make it to dinner. And so eventually the troops got closer. Madison was out in the field somewhere, so he had to try to supervise his army. And well, the Confederates, I'm sorry, not the Confederates. When I was saying the Confederates, the British. Did I say Southern troops? I mean the British. The British had gotten so close that they literally had to cut George Washington's photo, not photo, but painting out of the frame, and run for their lives. She gathered all the documents that she thought was important, and they ran for it. So the British, when they got there, the food was still hot, the table was set, so they ate. They enjoyed their food. They ate and ate and ate. And then, of course, the next thing you know, um, they said, all right, burn it. And they burned the White House. But yeah, the Dolly Madison, even though she could hear cannons, she thought they were going to still have dinner. But the what is it? The British Army got closer and closer. So the White House was actually gutted, and they had to rebuild it. And then they rebuilt it a second time back in the 1940s because it was kind of falling apart on the inside. So this is actually the third inside of the White House. Very little was salvaged from the first time. So, okay, there you go. That is the little story about the White House being burned. Um, I cannot recognize his signature, but someone on the Twitter posted this. There is a Jimmy Carter, Rosalind. I always said Rosalind Carter or Rosalind. I always say Rosalind Carter. And of course, Jimmy Carter being so famous for his Habitats for the Humanity, building houses. I know, to arms, to arms. The British are coming. The British are coming. um, yeah, I always confuse the when I'm thinking about the Washington D.C. being attacked. I always confuse it with the Civil War because same thing happened during the Civil War. Well, not the same thing, but the Confederate soldiers had gotten very close to overrunning the city. But during the War of 1812, for sure, the British had overrun the city. And this one, don't know where that one came from either, but I love this one right here. This is very abstract. Seems like someone just took a brush and did up the outer parts, and well, there's more of a focus to the center, but that one is pretty cool too. Rosalind Carter. All right, very good. I remember how upset they were that Rosalind Carter would actually sit in on some of those like very sensitive meetings that they had at the White House, and it was the good old Who does she think she is? Everybody knows that the chief advisor to the president is the spouse. It's always the spouse. I don't care who is in the cabinet. I don't care who the vice president is. Who are you going to listen to? Your wife or someone that was running against you on the campaign trail? So, all right. Happy National Day to Nigeria. October the 1st is National Day. And of course, celebrating the newest Nigerian, Amira Ngozi Lolo, rather. Amira Ngozi Lolo. Yes, that is the warrior princess herself, the Duchess of Sussex, the um, the newest Nigerian that I know of. Yes, Independence Day. Independence Day. Happy Independence Day. Oh yeah, Jimmy Carter was way before his time, Church Nelly. Way before his time. Now, that of course is the Nigerian flag. This is a very kind of distressed looking banner, but I think it's a very cool flag. The green and the white, perfect. And the tree, the tree. Some son of a biscuit eater cut down this tree. This very famous 300-year-old tree was fallen. Who would do such a thing? Well, this is not just a tree, but this tree happens to be a movie star. It was minding its business, wasn't bothering anybody. It was near Hadrian's Wall. As a matter of fact, it was right next to Hadrian's Wall. Now, Hadrian's Wall was built during Roman times, was it? And it was a divide. It was like the northernmost border of the Roman Empire, right? Right. Anyway, so there's a tree all by itself, and because of its unique location, it was used in a movie, one of my favorite movies, Robin Hood, the Prince of Thieves. You see there? There's Hadrian's Wall. That is the Great Wall of China of the British Isles. It's like the Great Wall of China, not as picturesque, but it has its qualities. And somebody cut it down. But who would do such a thing? Nobody knows for sure. Now, the Sycamore Gap, 16-year-old boy arrested after iconic tree at Hadrian's Wall deliberately felled. The tree, which is one of the UK's most photographed, was made famous after it featured in the 1991 Kevin Costner film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. One man who proposed under it said he chose the place so he could revisit one day with his family. And of course, why not? I mean, it's a beautiful location. It's historic. It's Hadrian's Wall. And I guess that was just too much for some people. But I do have a theory. I have my theories. Yes, CMAC, people do carry on, don't they? Let me see. When you look at this photo, she looks like a new Disney princess. Oh, okay. Thank you. Huh. Yeah, I see that. I see that. Thank you very much. All right. So, where was I? Yeah, so they cut it down. They cut it down. Let me see. Oh, that arbor. Oh, you mean like as in plants? Violence was heartbreaking. Was it done for social media clicks? Well, now, Sussex Teen Warrior, I have an idea about that. I do have an idea. Um, I think I know what happened. I think I do know what happened, and it's so ugly. It is. It's absolutely ugly to believe what I'm thinking, but it was just it took my breath away. But absent the absolute truth, absent any other truth, what other reason could this have happened? So follow me right now. Follow me. And I hope you can because I'm not sure where I'm going. Yeah, so follow me. I'm not sure where I'm going, but stay with me anyway. This is why I think it happened. And this is why.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay, let's kick off the evening with some incredible music.
Well, I know my theory is a little far fetched. I know my theory is a little far fetched, but stay with me. Um, that was a Kevin Costner movie, right? That was a Kevin Costner movie, right? And we're not the Sussexes at Kevin Costner's property enjoying a Hollywood good time. And well, because of the barrier of being thousands of miles away, maybe someone said, "Oh yeah, that's that tree that was in that movie with Kevin Costner, the Robin Hood movie." You know, the Kevin Costner who had the party. Okay, I know it's a bit of a stretch, but stay with me. The Kevin Costner that had that party where the Sussexes was celebrated by all present. Well, I mean, yes, it is a bit far fetched, but absent any other truth, then what else could it have been? Huh? What else could it have been? If it wasn't that, then what was it? Now, until someone says any different, then that's the theory that I'm going to operate under. Is that they were just jealous because the Sussexes was out there having a good time. With all of those Hollywood types. and they couldn't take it. They couldn't take it. They decided to punish that tree because Harry and Meghan were the toast of the town for the 805 thing. So let me see. Where's that? I'm looking for the one where they were where they got that big introduction. That's my favorite. And I don't see it. No, I know that's not it. Okay. Well, anyway, that's my theory. Yes, I know it's got a hole in it so big you can probably drive a truck through it, but until we know better, I'm going to stick with that one. So, recollections may vary. Recollections may vary, but that's my theory. Okay, that is my theory. Huh. Was that it? Nope, that's not it. Oh well, I don't see the other. I was looking for that one where they were introduced, but I don't see that one. So let me see what you all are thinking. Yes, that's right. Yeah, put it on Baldy. They took it out on the tree. Kevin Costner connection through a movie, The Sussexes, as his special guest. Not much is surprising anymore, right? Exactly. So, anyway, because we know that the tabloids are listening, expect to see that in the Daily Mail tomorrow. Sussex fans accuse whoever of cutting down the historic tree because it was featured in a Kevin Costner movie, or the Harry and Meghan sent one of their fans to cut down the tree. Ah. Yes, yes. You know, some of these stories write themselves. There is no anything that is so big and so outrageous that someone won't assume that it's the truth. Now that I believe, because they tend to just make up anything when the Sussexes are concerned, and there's no lie too big. There's no accusation too outrageous that they won't just make up something. But well, I mean, it needs work. I need to get one of those boards and like take the red like string and connect all of the accused to one central point. So yeah, that's what I need to do. I need to do one of those boards like that. I'm trying to find the one where they got the big introduction. Huh. Wow, that was so many videos ago. I don't know which one it is. Nope, not that. Maybe I never posted it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I never posted it. No, that's a possibility. Interesting. Okay. Hmm. Nope, that's not it. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe I never did post it. Oh yeah, I posted it, but I don't think I shared it on the I don't think I shared it on here. Okay, so I don't know, but I'm still with you, Baron. Oh, thank you, Mary H. I appreciate that. So take a look here. I mean, come on. There's Kevin Costner, and then of course this seemed to happen. Did this happen before or after Kevin Costner? Before he tweeted how much he appreciated having the Sussexes come by to visit, right? Well, as you can see, I would probably make a terrible detective if I could say it like Betty Davis. Terrible. terrible. Oh, there it is. There it is. Okay. Let me do that. All right. And I will show you that. Well, it didn't take long to load. Let me make sure that this is the actual video. But yeah, I love the one where they do the introduction. I love that. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And for some reason, they keep saying this thing about the microphone. I don't see it. That is like some type of deranger, dystopian dreamscape or something. But they keep saying this thing about the microphone. Have you heard that? It's crazy. It's crazy. I won't even bore you with it. But yeah, they keep saying something about the microphone, and I just don't see it. I don't get it. And then too, if you look at the derangers, the trolls in in all the comment sections, they keep saying, "Oh, she thought the microphone was meant for her. She thought," and I'm just like, "What are you talking about?" I totally did not see that. Oh yeah, that's it right there. That's it. Okay, come on. That's it. Okay. Here goes. Here goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
Now, did you see that? Did you see that? It seems like she just said, "No, give it to him," or maybe I just assumed that the lady thought that they were going to give a speech. You know what I'm saying? They told the lady to introduce them, and perhaps, I mean, Harry and Meghan were not mentioned on the flyer, on the invitations. They were not mentioned. Everybody else was mentioned. They said that they had a special guest and or a surprise guest, and the Sussexes were the surprise guests. So of course they were not mentioned. Maybe that was for security reasons because they were definitely surrounded by security, but they were not mentioned, and yet they just keep going on and on and on about this microphone. And I get why they're saying it because it's easy for them to be hateful, but it's just not true. The lady made an assumption. Meghan straightened her out about it. No, give it to so and so, and that was it. Did you see the way Meghan just pointed her finger? She's like, "No, dear, no." Exactly. Yeah, and I'm just like, and by them repeating the lie as much as they have, I had to go back and look at it. I'm like, wait a minute, that's not what happened. Yeah, you're right. And Rohini, they need a lifeline after the month of September. They need as much encouragement that they can give to one another as possible. You can't see Kevin Costner the same way? Well, he's not the one that put a hit out on the tree. It wasn't him. Exactly, exactly. Lydia says she greeted the lady to shake hands. She was not looking to take the mic. Exactly. So it has taken a life of its own. And I keep seeing that in the comments. And no matter what the video is about, they always bring up the microphone. Well, should I say, at least half the time, it's like I see the microphone, the microphone. And this right here, I thought this would have been, the conversation that they're having right here. I thought that would have been more of something that they would latch on to, but no, they would go with something easier like the microphone. So there was so much going on here, and I'm just like, is that all you have? Is that all you have? I mean, they're speaking to billionaires, real estate people. They're speaking to and what about all the neighbors? It has been a week, and you have not found anyone who paid $12,000 to be there per head, $12,000 per ticket. You haven't found anyone that was willing to say anything negative about them. Not one person. Not one person. It has been a week. Not anyone on the staff, not anyone who happens to be their neighbors, nothing. And so all they have is the microphone. She always wants to be the center of attention. And I'm trying to do that voice like Michelle used to do on Tina and Michelle. Yeah. You know how she used to mock people? She always. I cannot do it. I cannot do it. It's too funny though. But I can't get it out. But that's exactly what I wanted to do was the that voice that Michelle does. God, that was so funny. I loved when Michelle would do that voice mocking someone. But yeah, so if I had to think of a reason why that innocent tree was fallen like that or failed like that, it would have to be striking out against Kevin Costner for having the nerves, for having the moral fortitude to invite the Sussexes over as neighbors in Santa Barbara to his ranch for a picnic, for a barbecue or whatever. So there you go. That is the likely reason. And to have them as guest of honor, right? To make them the guest of honor. Let's see. Lola Love said they also saying Kevin Costner didn't know Harry and Meghan, although he was the one who invited them as special guests. The Rangers are crazy. Yes. Yes. I'm just, and I hate to even give this any energy, but it has just been so bizarre to me with them in this microphone. And I'm like, are they looking at the same video? It's by the time they tell the story, Meghan headbutted the lady and then kneed her in the chest and then body slammed her and wrestled the mic away from her, only for a couple of armed Pinkerton guards to subdue Meghan, ripping the microphone out of her hand, handing it to Harry rejecting the microphone so he can tend to his wife. By the time they tell the story, it sounds like some scene out of a Tom Clancy novel. I'm sure that I've seen that in a Tom Clancy novel somewhere. They really have given this story too much vivid recollections that do not even exist. Yeah, Meghan did a cartwheel and then took the steps to get up there, like 3 steps at a time, even though it's only 3 steps, but 3 steps at a time to get to the top of the stage, where she sized up the woman with the microphone, pushing strangers, knocking people off the stage like a bowling ball. And then she wrestled the mic away from her. And when the lady tried to resist Meghan, the microphone whipped back and busted the lady's nose, right? There was blood skeeting all over the place, all because Meghan just had to have that microphone. She just had to be the center of attention. I'm just trying to figure out who bailed Harry and Meghan out of jail that night. Was it Gayle King? Portia de Rossi? Who bailed them out of jail that night? That I wonder. Who visited the lady with the microphone in the hospital? It only gets more and more bizarre by the day. I tell you, by the time they tell the story, Meghan began to sing a Tina Turner number, right? She had her own band. Somehow a band appeared out of nowhere just so that everybody would look at her. I think that the walkabout, that they had a royal walkabout, they were introduced as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, and the fact that they were in these circles with all of these very powerful people was just more than they could take. Their nerves could not handle it. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot about this, but yeah, you know what? I had put all these videos up here for Nigeria, and I didn't even show them. So let's do that after I'm done with the tree. And then there's this right here. I mean, for someone who didn't know the Sussexes and who was very suspicious of them, was wondering who they were. They seemed to be awfully cozy in this little VIP lounge that was set up behind the stage, right? And of course, there's Kevin Costner from the Robin Hood movie, the Prince of Thieves. There's Kevin Costner standing on Hadrian's Wall, right? It was actually a very good movie. I don't think they even bothered with trying to get him to do an English accent, if I recall. But Miss Scobie says, we just can't have nice things anymore. And there you go. The Sycamore Gap, iconic tree at Hadrian's Wall, deliberately felled. The tree, which is one of the UK's most photographed, was made famous after it featured in the 1991 Kevin Costner film Robin Hood. And some cartoonists decided to cast the villains as, let me see if I can figure out who these people are. I see Rishi Sunak. I see, I'm guessing that's Liz Truss and the black finance guy. I can never remember his name. There's Bojo, Boris Johnson. And there's the other prime minister. What was her name? The one that danced like a plucked chicken. What was her name? The one that danced like she had a bad itch. Oh well. That's her. When I think of her, I always just think hips. Boy, did she have some. She kind of walked like a duck, danced like a plucked chicken, and then she had those kind of a awkward thing going on. And then those other two, I don't know who they are, but but yeah, she had quite a. She was doing the jerk, the Watusi, the funky four corners. She was doing just about every dance I knew from childhood, all at the same time. Every dance that I recall from my childhood. Teresa May, thank you. She was doing all of those dances at the same time. I never seen anything like it. So anyway, someone has cast them as the villains that have cut down the tree. Now, this came out just before I went on. Bare-chested ex-lumberjack screams, "I know I'm innocent," as he returns to caravan home after being questioned by cops over felling of famous Sycamore Gap tree, and hours after police seized a chainsaw. Well, I tell you what, I would never knock on that door twice. Once I saw that chainsaw, I'd be like, you know what? I'll go to the home store, Home Depot or whatever, and I'll just buy a tree. We're good. I would not knock on somebody's door again after I see that chainsaw. I done seen too many movies. He lives in a rural area. He's living in a caravan, a trailer home, and he's got a chainsaw. That's all I need to see. People like that usually have some missing person in a shed behind their house. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't be brave enough to knock on that door ever again. As soon as I saw that chainsaw, I'd be like, case dismissed. As I see a chainsaw, I'm like, load them up. Let's go. But nothing. Let's get out of here while we can. Yeah, I don't fool with chainsaws. You know, I never did get through that movie Scarface. Once that, I promise you, I've never seen Scarface. I got as far as that part and I turned it off and never went back to look at it again. I kept wondering, what is all this fuss about this Scarface? And I just closed my eyes and tried to find the off button. All I heard was, ah! Ah! I'm like, yeah, this ain't for me. Yep. Ever since then, I have a huge complex with chainsaws. Don't want to go near them. Ugh, who watches a movie like that? Yeah, I know, Jill. I have just given them enough to write about for the next week. Not just tomorrow, but for the next week. The trees, the chainsaws, the microphone. They got a week's worth of stories to run. Yep. A week's worth of stories. Thanks to me.
YZ, come down. Come down. Come down. Say what? YZ, come down. Come down. Come down. 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 Say what? YZ, come down. Come down. Come down. YZ, come down. Come down. Come down. YZ, come down. Come down. Come down.
Okay, I didn't know I had that one twice, but let's see here. Did you guys notice that they were being showered with gifts? They are being showered with gifts. Look at all the aunties. Okay, let me see this one. Yeah, I think this is just a different vantage point. The other one was from the top. This one seems to be from, almost looks like it's right in front of them, right? Okay, and I think I have one more. Oh, I think it's all the same. You know what I did? I made the screen smaller so that I could load it on the shorts. So that's probably why, is because I had to make the screen smaller. So there you go. That was it. That was everything. Okay, so again, I loaded those for Nigerian Independence Day. I thought it would be nice to take a look back at those. Although I am missing one of the videos for okay, let me see if I can find it. Give me just a second, see if I can find that one. Okay. So we saw that one. Is this it? Okay, yeah, that's Dave Weissman with the Team Nigeria. I don't know why they don't take that on the road. I mean, people would pay to see that. Let's see. Gracie Infowabi says, let's see. Love Prince Harry and Princess Meghan. May they continue to rise and shine. Amen to that. Thank you so much for the super chat. All right, so that was it. That last video always plays back very weird like that, where it keeps stalling. I don't know why it does that, but yeah, that one never plays back so well. Okay. Yeah, he's been adopted by the Nigerians. So yeah, he's one of the family now. I'm pretty sure that if you would have told me a year ago that Dave Wiseman would be at the Invictus Games Dusseldorf shouting hallelujah and whatever else he was just doing, I'd have been like, oh, come on, he's such a nerd. The cousin at the cookout, absolutely, B. Martin. Thank you so much for the super chat. All right. Okay, let's move on. And thank you again, Gracie. All right. So right here, Vogue magazine, British Vogue, sustainability, how this Californian brand became Meghan's go-to for sustainable wardrobe staples. Now, here it is, October 1st. The Invictus Games ended, 2 weeks ago? And still, they are celebrating Meghan's fashions. That's incredible. Yes, Gracie, David, one of us. Absolutely. Meghan, one of us. And of course, David is one of us. Thank you so much. Yeah, it has been a week. And right here, by now, we are all familiar with the mantra, buy less, buy better, particularly when considering the enormous problem of overconsumption in the fashion industry. But back in 2011, when Shilpa Shah and Carla Gallardo, co-founders of Guyana, or is it Siana? Is it Siana? It was rare to hear brands themselves promoting message of fewer, better, a slogan that has defined their approach from the start. We wanted to build a different kind of brand, Shah tells Vogue over the phone during a trip to New York. What you buy, you should use. Our whole ethos was to create a brand that makes pieces that women love and that you can turn to over and over again. Meaning just that. This is something that I learned about recently, is that there is something called disposable fashion. And that means that you buy really inexpensive stuff. And there's a good chance that there is a synthetic blend. It may be all synthetic, or it may have been sourced from materials that were incredibly inexpensive to buy for the manufacturer. And so they're able to sell them at low prices to undercut the competition. Well, with that, you have mountains of clothing. When people donate clothing, we always assume that it's going to go to some homeless person or the victim of let's say an emergency, and no one has any clothes. It may end up at the local resale shop, like a I don't know, what is that place? The Salvation Army. Well, a lot of that happens. But the thing is, there are certain communities that don't have as big a homeless population as you might think they do. And even if they do, they take in so many clothes that the average, if you divided the clothes amongst the people that are homeless or that are, poor and in need of clothing, they would have, one of the statistics I heard for a particular community, that they took in the equivalent of 400 pounds per person of clothes every year. And so there's nothing else to do but ship them out. So ship them out means that they will go to, actually, I've seen some places in Africa where they go to the markets. People sell them. That's what people are using for their income. And so I got into a terrible row. Here I go sounding British. I got into a terrible row with a know-it-all friend of mine. She found out that the lady at her job who was African was taking the donations, and she would put them inside of a container, and then she would sell them to someone in Africa, and then they would. I said, so what? So what difference does it make? Yeah, but they're selling. So the clothing is being used. Families are being supported with the money from the clothing. Why do you care? You ever know somebody who has to try to point out the angle of every little thing? I don't have enough time to carry that negativity around. And I'm like, so what? When you donate something, when you give, you're not supposed to sit back and then look around the tree, especially that tree that they cut down, peek around the tree or peek around the corner and see what they're doing with it. Give out of the goodness of your heart. Don't sit back and try to evaluate or guide and lead people to what they do. So the lady sold them. At least they're not going into a landfill somewhere. Well, that's the bad part of this story. There are areas in these impoverished communities where there are these landfills, and because of these synthetic fibers, it's almost as bad as a bunch of tires. You know how you see all that smoke coming off of a pile of tires or a pile of computers or whatever type of rubbish? Well, it's the same with these pieces of clothing. So I just took a very long way to tell you that we as consumers buy a lot of clothes every year. We buy stuff that we're never going to wear. We only wear it one time. And this brand is encouraging the consumer, just buy a few quality pieces and wear them, just like we did 100 years ago, just like we did in the past. In the past, there was no such thing as disposable fashions. You would just keep handing things down until they were used as cleaning rags. But nowadays, if we can't find that white turtleneck, what do? We go and buy another one. And then when we finally decide to clean out the closet, what happens? We find another turtleneck that we purchased with the tag still on it to replace the first turtleneck that we couldn't find in the first place, and it may still have tags on it. So the moral of the story is, please consider whether or not you're going to wear something. And if you do put those items in those donation containers, yes, they do go to markets in places far away. They call them old dead white men's clothes. I think that was the nickname for them. I think in Africa they call them the old dead white men's clothes. Have you guys ever heard that before? And under the idea that someone donated a dead person's clothing. And some of the pieces are designers. Now, this is what's really funny about this, is that you would think that those the clothing is making a one-way trip, right? Well, there are places where people donate clothing in Europe that goes to Africa. It is sorted, and then the designer high-end pieces, guess what happens to that? It goes right back to Europe and ends up in a high-end resale shop. I kid you not. If you don't believe me, start searching on the YouTube. You will find that there is a whole cottage industry about donated clothing. But yeah, so that is what this brand is about. And I think it's a good thing to make people think about not only how we consume clothing, but how we consume everything, because the advent of synthetic materials, synthetic fibers, this world is clogged with pieces of any and everything. It won't rust. It takes 1,000 or more years for it to ever break down. What is it, 10,000 years, they say? But yeah, and basically it's a petroleum product. And it's taking something that was stagnant in the earth, and you're taking it out, you're refining it, processing it, and we're even wearing it. That's the thing, is we're even wearing that stuff. So that is why this brand exists, is not only that they have the idea about fashion, but when you see sustainable, just know that the people that are trying to give us those options are people that are aware of how much we produce and how little of it is actually ever used. What's that? Baron, please do check and play the part that says in Nigerian song, Harry is the boss, Meghan is the boss. They say it so beautifully. Really? I don't. Which one is that? Is that the one where they're holding the flag? Please do check and play the part that says in Nigerian song here. Do I have that? Did I play that already? Yeah, I'm not sure. I probably. Oh, what is that right there? Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm sorry. I'm sitting up here doing all of this. What you call it? All of my mountaintop stuff, and I'm I'm not really paying attention to the chat that much. But okay. So, but yeah, did I play it already? I don't recall. Lorna says there are 3 designers that are taking secondhand clothing and redesigning them for the market. I've seen one of the guys in the market. He is like the Yves Saint Laurent of the marketplaces over there. And well, he's not the only one. Well, they will take a lot of these vintage pieces and turn something really incredible out of it. So, but yeah, I couldn't believe that though. The thing is, I don't have enough energy to worry about certain things. But this friend of mine, she was like, "Oh yeah," and I found out, and I'm like, so that because the thing is, if you don't donate the stuff, it's going to end up in a landfill, and when you do donate it, there's more clothing donated than is what's needed in the community. Do you want to see the homeless person walking around with 400 pounds worth of clothing on? I'm talking about 400 pounds in weight, not money. What sense would that make? So the only other wise thing to do is just ship it to some place where they can use it, and they use it to support their families. I just don't have enough energy to worry about stuff like that. I don't care what they do with that stuff. I'm glad I can see the floor of my closet again. I'm glad I don't have to keep moving it from one place to the next. Do you know how many pieces of clothing that I may have moved X amount of times over X amount of years, and I've taken this with me and taken that with me, and I ain't gonna ever wear it again. So there's someone else who could wear it, and if they could use that to support their families, what difference does it make? Or am I being too naive about it? But yeah, I don't care. How has this California brand become Meghan's go-to for sustainable wardrobe staple? Says of Meghan's support over the years, she discovered us through her friends, Abigail Spencer and Daniel Martin. I think it also helps that we align with being 2 women of color and having started this ourselves. That self-made story, contrary to what people think, she doesn't have all these people sending her products and pitching her things all the time. So I didn't suspect that much because you know what? At the end of the day, I said this before. I said it yesterday. Harry and Meghan honor their positions, their roles as members of the British royal family. There's a certain dignity that goes along with that. And while people may assume that having written a book or doing an interview is in any way outside of what's normal for that family, the truth is it's not. Did they just have a some performative podcast a couple of weeks ago, right? Didn't they just do a podcast? Charles has pretty much co-authored a book himself in everything but name. Charles has done television interviews. Charles has talked about how his parents seem to fall short in their parental department. So again, the Sussexes haven't done anything that has brought disgrace to that family. Talking about mental illness, talking about the family, well, they've all done it. They all continue to do it, and they're going to keep doing it. They will do it whenever it suits them. It was Prince Philip who first brought cameras into the royal household, not the Sussexes, not even Charles. That was Prince Philip that did that, and they haven't turned them off since. So Harry and Meghan's commitment to their titles, to their roles, whether or not they use those titles is not the point. Harry is always going to have that respect for his grandmother and a sense of duty. And Meghan, of course, shares in the value of that sense of duty. So I wouldn't expect anything less from them. So they have not in any way compromised that. I don't care what the derangers say or the royal reporters. They have been two very good stewards of their titles. Okay. Let's see. I saw a program where they tracked an Amazon purchase handbag with a tracker that a customer had returned because they did not like the style. They tracked the bag to a dumpster. Really? Okay. I can believe it though, because when people return that stuff, a lot of it goes into the landfill. A lot of it is donated or, end up in a big on a big skid somewhere in some big bundle. And then, of course, it's kind of auctioned off or sold for pennies on the dollar. Oh, okay. Very cool. Let me see. A lot of the stores has closed there where I live. So I live, they close, and Dress Barn. Oh, no. Yeah, unfortunately, we are losing a lot of retail spaces. We are losing retail, which is a shame. Pretty soon, everything's going to come off the back of a truck. Oh, nice. That must be very pleasing. Well, yeah. I mean, but that just goes to show that you buy quality pieces if it lasts that long. Nithalando says, it's true that families here in Africa are being fed and children school fees are being paid for by money made from selling these clothes. These clothes are very cheap on the market. Yeah, well, I'm so glad to hear that. I'm so glad to hear that. I mean, if I thought that donating something that I had could help someone keep their kids in school or something like that, I wouldn't mind helping pay the cost to ship it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't even mind doing that if I thought it would help. And that's the thing about it is that I'm just telling you what I've heard is that they take in way more clothing than is what's needed in any given community, and so the clothing end up being shipped to other countries where people use that clothing as a way to support their families. And I think that's a good thing. Okay, let's move on then. Can you say grift? Can you say grift? Well, that is the GB News. That is the GB News team. So, what's happened recently is that there has been yet another byline article, and this time they're mentioning that Dan Wooten has been taken off of the role, that he is not likely coming back at all, and that there is a crisis meeting or crisis meetings that have taken place to figure out what the future of GB News is going to be. You know, it's only so long that you can sustain anything without bringing in revenue. And they were losing lots of money in the advertising department. The advertisers didn't want to pay for it. They did not want to be a part of it. And for very good reason. And part of the reason is because of the Sussex Squad, is because of other consumers that have found this television network or station or whatever it's supposed to be, that they found that it was garbage. It was garbage. It was a bunch of propaganda. It was rubbish. How's that? If I'm not sounding too British, it was rubbish. They found that it was rubbish. So Dan Wooten needs a miracle to save his £600,000 a year job as GB News star presenter, as owners. So what is his name? Sir Paul Marshall seeks to detoxify the brand as he bids for the Telegraph byline time as he bids for the Daily Telegraph byline times can exclusively report Wooten, whose private and professional conduct has been the subject of a series of exposés by this newspaper, was informed on Friday that his services are unlikely to be required at the station again, alongside those of actor turned activist Lauren Fox. The pair are at the center of a misogyny backlash after Fox staged a sexist rant denigrating journalist Ava Evans on Tuesday live on Dan Wooten Tonight, while the host laughed along, attracting some 7,300 viewer complaints to the regulator Ofcom. Also, it says GB News is also cutting ties with a third broadcaster, Calvin Robinson, who was a regular face on Wooten's show and is reviewing the employment of a number of other employees ahead of a further byline investigation to be published tomorrow. Ooh, gotta look forward to that one. Maybe it's out already and I just didn't see it. So, yeah, it's not likely that Woo Woo is coming back. I think we've seen the last of Woo Woo on the GB News. And it makes sense. It makes sense, not just because of what I think of what they are doing as a network, but it makes sense in that if the GB News is going to be seen as a legitimate news source, if they want to perpetuate these right-wing theories and stuff, they are not attracting a big enough audience with all of this vitriol toward Harry and Meghan and this whole anti-woke and what's the other one? The anti-LGBTQ rhetoric that's going on, this culture war stuff, screaming about the migrants. That's pretty much the whole thing. I mean, they're like a one note Johnny when it comes to their subjects. Let me see here. So I want you to take a look at this video.
Our children's innocence. You want to take it away. You are the fascists that you accuse us of. Alright, boys and girls? So keep your face masks on and keep together. Whoever's paying you to be here, but you're not going to win because this is a free country. We do not like people messing with our children. We do not like it. Our children are innocent. Leave them alone. Stay away from our kids. Stay away from reading stories to our kids. You want to do drag? Go and do drag somewhere with an adult. You are the fascists you accuse us of. You are the exact thing you accuse us of.
Did you notice? Look at his hand. Look at his hand.
That's what you are. You are our mortal enemies. Every single one of you.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, just a few feet away, and you could barely hear him. You could barely hear him. Well, that's the article right there. Wait, let me see here. It says Dan Evans and Tom Lacham revealed Dan Wooten's departure from GB News looks set to be permanent, and examine the true cost of the networks sticking by his £600,000 a year employee who broke editorial codes with impunity and engaged in sordid activities, posing as a fictitious Martin Branning and Maria Joseph. How do you like that? So, yeah, it looks like it's, stick a fork in him. He's done. And right there at the bottom, it says Dan Wooten will be disappearing from the GB News lineup for good. Byline Times understands. So that's the new lineup. A new GB News promotional poster shows Dan Wooten, the channel's one super presenter, missing from the lineup. Well, how about that? There is the new publicity poster, and no Dan Wooten. Now, with that, you guys, I think I hear a harp playing. I hear bells chiming. There is a message from the great beyond. There is a message from the great beyond. So whenever we get those messages, we have to cue it up properly. Okay, it says here, I, Queen Elizabeth II, ruler of the United Kingdom and the common, because there is no wealth left. Do hereby declare we are not amused by Camilla's old garters being donated to charity. So, Your Majesty, are you saying that there's not anybody out there who wants to have the privilege of wearing some of those old Camilla garters and petticoats and and any other undergarment that may have been around since the time of William the Conqueror? Are you sure that there's not anybody who wants the privilege, the honor, who wants the boasting rights to say, I've worn some of Camilla's weather-beaten, threadbare, Um, Whalebone. Yeah, I'm sure that when Camilla bought some of her articles of undergarments, that they were still using the whale bones for ribbing instead of wires or plastic or whatever. So, yeah, I imagine that that's probably what they used at the time. Instead of an underwire bra, she's wearing an underbone because it's using pieces of whalebone. So, uh, anyway, thank you so much, Your Majesty. And I appreciate these meetings like this because it gives us a chance to know, these secrets that we assume may have been lost forever. Let me see here. How did Wooten negotiate the salary for what he did? He was terrible. He must have had secret information on the higher ups. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he was as probably as good as anyone could be with the breaking stories, and plus, considering that he seemed to have a source inside of Kensington Palace, that may have helped his case. I mean, we all know that the calls were coming from inside the house. And of course, he was the one who said that it was much easier for them to blame anything uncomfortable on racism rather than address the fact that the negativity toward them was coming from inside the royal family. So there's always that. So they probably thought that he was worth the money. But of course, at the time, the information about Martin Branning and Maria Joseph, none of that stuff was brought to light. So I can understand why he would have assumed that nobody would be the wiser. Marcia Ware, I did not notice Nana either. So it's no telling. Nana has not, I'm trying to think, was Nana one of the people that wrote a tweet defending um, Dan Wooten? I'm trying to recall. There was a few people who decided that they would stand up for him, but I don't think Nana was one of them. Let me see. Why not? Queenie Camilla's bloomers would make a good refugee show. Yes, I would imagine. I mean, considering that the properties of them are the equivalent of cast iron, I'm pretty sure that not only would it be a shelter from the weather, but you could probably use it during times of war and conflict. So yeah, that's a good idea. uh yeah, it'd probably make a good refugee shelter. Oh man. And these two right here, I promise you, if this don't look like something that was dressed up at a funeral home, it looks like a mortician had just finished and then they just sat up and started talking. They literally look like something the mortician was working on that sat up and started smiling. My goodness. I mean, that's some heavy war paint there. Ugh. Ugh. I'm almost afraid to look directly at them. Uh-oh. I'm sure people would rather live live outside. Wait, I am sure people would rather live outside. Queen out. Well, thank you so much, Your Majesty. I'm sure it's nothing that Lysol couldn't fix. or 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 I don't know. I mean, I would if I had to, I would just have to take a good disinfectant into the shelter with me. But oh, thank you very much for that, Your Majesty, and Sean, for being able to communicate like that. It's truly a gift. Okay. And all right, so I want to continue just a little bit more with Jimmy Carter's birthday. 99th birthday. Do you all realize that Jimmy Carter is in hospice? What was supposed to be a few weeks in hospice has turned into 7 months. And this is not the first time. Jimmy Carter actually had a brain tumor, and they were able to use some new procedure or new treatment. And what was supposed to be, you know, a hope that that it would work, turned out to be incredibly effective. He seems to have all his faculties about him, although physically he's not as strong as he was just a couple years ago. But aside from that, this man survived a brain tumor that usually is unsurvivable. So I'm hearing people mention, oh, he's in hospice and he's been there for 7 months. Well, he had a brain tumor that he survived. We were about to, start updating the obituary a few years ago, and he survived that brain tumor. So he's a lot stronger than I guess anybody could ever have expected. And 99 years old, he is the oldest surviving president in history. He passed that milestone at age, I think it was 97 or something like that, or 92. And let me see. If the brain tumor is a small one, then gamma knife therapy might be indicated for treatment. Yeah, well, I don't know what they used. I know it was something experimental, is what I recall. And somehow, even with his advanced age, he managed to survive. So, cheers for President Carter. Now I'm just like, well, I hope he makes it to 100. Now I hope he makes it to 100. If that's what's called for. I mean, it was obvious for some reason they said, okay, he's going to do hospice at home. So not knowing exactly what's going on with him, but well, whatever is meant to be will be, and that's the way that goes. But wow. Now, right here, if you like to travel, if you like to fly, especially if you're from these United States of America, check it out. U.S. air travel average per mile trip versus real cost per mile, 1979 to 2012. Well, let me see. Who was president back in 1979? Any guesses? Any guesses? I'll tell you who was president back in 1979. Jimmy Carter. And by deregulating the airlines, it brought the cost down for the consumer, so much so that even though you may think, oh my goodness, I can't afford to travel and the prices are so high, the tickets are so high, thanks to Jimmy Carter, it has never been more affordable. So as you can see, the red line right there, cost per mile, $2012. So back in 2012 money, it would have cost you that much money. It was like, what was it? Is that 32? I'm sorry, $2,300 per mile? No, that's 2,300 miles. And it was 32 cents. I'm always bad at figuring these things out. But anyway, the bottom line is the price has gone down. And then right there, the blue line, as you can see, that the distance that people can afford to travel has gone higher. So whereas before, for a higher price, you could only go about 1,900 miles. Well, as the deregulation kicked in and as these low cost airlines have come around, even though the service is not Connie Bomber, even though the prices and everything may seem so high, you're actually able to go a lot further, a lot cheaper, because that competition has brought value to the consumer. So that is one of my favorite things about Jimmy Carter, is that as much as I love the travel, he definitely has made it less expensive for the average American to travel. And then right here, of course, in 1979, President Carter had solar panels installed at the White House. These were later laughed at, derided, and removed by officials of the Reagan administration. So, right now, the United States is playing catch up when it comes to the solar industry. There are even politicians who have actively enacted laws to make it cost prohibitive for the consumer to depend upon solar. Not everywhere, but some states, especially red states, they have tried to make it ineffective to put in solar panels. It costs a lot of money still. China is moving right ahead with it. There's other places in the world that are developing newer technologies and such, and the United States is in a position where we're lagging behind. If they had kept those solar panels at the White House, just think how much further along we would be, how much less dependent upon fossil fuels we would be if they would have left those in place. But just like with the Orange Menace, you have this Republican president that comes in and wants to do everything that he can to disrespect the Democrat that was in the office before him. They want to roll back the clock. They want to turn back. It's one thing about Republican presidents, they always want to go back. They always want to go in the wrong direction. The idea of embracing science, just like with the global pandemic, they don't want to listen to the science. They would rather lose people, including their own family. They'd rather lose people just so that we can do it just like they did back in 1918 or whenever that was. So that is another one. And of course, I remember Andrew Young, the ambassador to the United Nations. He was the first Black person to have that role, wasn't it? The United Nations. And Colin Powell. There was a lack of diversity in the upper ranks of the military. And Jimmy Carter was the one who was saying, find someone qualified, and let's, get him up here. So that started with Jimmy Carter. Colin Powell's rise in the military ranks was not just his talent, was not just his abilities as a soldier, but just like with President Truman, a Democrat, who who desegregated the military, there was still so much that needed to be done. And so that was another one of the things that Jimmy Carter was responsible for. And this is just stuff I'm telling you off the top of my head. The strategic oil reserve. People thought, they just threw in the towel during the energy crisis. Well, that's not exactly it. Jimmy Carter wanted to make sure that we never, ever found ourselves lacking fuel. So I believe it was salt mines that they flooded with oil, with petroleum, so that during those times when OPEC is lowering production, it's not just so that in case there is a war or something, we will have fuel, but also in case the fuel is cut off completely, that we will have fuel. And then let's not forget the market. Sometimes, in order to bring gasoline prices down, ever since that time, presidents have released fuel from the strategic oil reserve to help even out the prices in the marketplace. And you guys thought I was just a pretty face, right? Anyway, that was another response from Jimmy Carter to the crisis of the day. And yeah, and then let me just say this one last thing. And when I talk to Republicans, when I debate Republicans about Jimmy Carter, they love to try to put him down and call him a loser and stuff like that because of his one term. Listen to this. How many of the hostages that were taken during the Iran hostage crisis, how many of them died? How many of them died? Anybody know? I'm going to tell you, 0. None of them died. They used those hostages to get their revenge on Jimmy Carter because of the American policies. And I believe in my heart they made some deal with the Republicans to go against Jimmy Carter to humiliate him by having those hostages. And so they kept those hostages until the day Ronald Reagan was sworn in. So the hostages, the Iranians actually, all things considered, they only took hostages because of American policy. They wanted to prove that it was Western powers like the British, like the Americans, that overthrew their democratically elected leadership and replaced them with the Shah of Iran, a brutal military dictator. All of which, happened before Jimmy Carter even got to office, but it became his problem, and that plagued his presidency. So for 444 days, they had their hands tied, and they even tried to send a rescue team to get the hostages out, and they were hit by a sandstorm, and the helicopters went down. I still remember that from when I was a kid. So that's what I remember from those days. Anyway, as Her Majesty the Queen probably did not say, but somebody put her name on it, recollections may vary. And with that, you guys, let me see how many more slides do I have. Oh, there we go. There is is that in Washington? But anyway, people are taking photos in front of this, looks like it's a LED board. And there is young Jimmy Carter, the naval officer. And there is Rosalind Carter when they first met. What a handsome couple. Aw, I love these photos, which is why I share them over and over again. And 99 years, a long life, a great life. Happy birthday, President Jimmy Carter. And King Harry. Love this AI generated image of Prince Harry. And I guess this is the last slide I have right here. It looks as though some hackers have gone into the official royal website. Yes, those Russian hackers take down the royal family's official website in a cyber attack. The official royal family website went down for around 2 hours on Sunday morning, with Russian hackers, whose name I don't want to say, taking responsibility posting the supposed takedown was an attack on those kind of people that you see there. And yeah, so who knows what that was really about? Who knows if they paid a ransom to get their account freed? But it happened. So with them, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what was going on. And with that, you guys, thank you very much. That is it for Royal Sussex today. Thank you for watching. Thank you, moderators, for keeping this a safe space. Thank you all for your very generous and thoughtful contributions to Royal Sussex. And also, happy October 1st. It is the 1st of October. It's a new month. And we had September, and I don't think I will ever, never, ever forget this September. This is one for the record books, especially in the world of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, the Sussex Squad. So much happened this month. I almost forget like little things here and there, but so much happened this month. And it was so much good publicity. It was good where PR is concerned. I think it was good for the Sussexes in that they were able to get out and do some fun things and get all loved up by people in the entertainment industry, people in the music industry, billionaires, multi-millionaires, and of course, the Nigerian aunties and all of the people of Dusseldorf, right? It's a lot. It was a lot. And there's so many new people that have joined the Sussex Squad. I think in the past month, I must have gotten like maybe, I think about 5,000, 6,000 new subscribers, right? So that is a good thing. That means that there are more people that are paying attention to the Sussex Squad and hearing us and our truths about the Sussexes, which is so important because we need something that is going to counter all that negativity. And I still think we have a ways to go, but we're on the right track, and people are disputing these things, and not necessarily people in the Sussex Squad, but people that are sympathetic to the Sussex's situation. There are people that are really calling out these magazines and tabloids and royal rodents and such. They're calling them out. They're identifying their tactics and such. And I haven't watched a lot of American television, especially like the morning shows, the news and such. And I'm not sure if they have changed their ways, but I'm hoping that they have, because Meghan's home now. And this is the home for Prince and Princess, Archie and Lily, and also for Prince Harry. And Mama Doria is out in California like she's always been. So this is home, and they should be treated like one of the family and not used for clickbait by American media people. Teresa McDougal, you're on your 6-month membership with your podcast. Thank you for a safe space. Well, thank you so much, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay. Oh yeah, that's very important. Remember to check on your elderly friends and family, especially those living alone. Isolation during the pandemic, it has still had an impact on mental health. Stay safe as autumn rolls in. Yes, please do that. Absolutely. Who? LaFonza Butler was chosen to fill Dianne Feinstein's seat in the Senate. Maybe the Daily Fail will shut up speculating about Meghan filling that seat. maybe, but they'll just go on to the next thing. They will go on to the next thing. There is nothing too outrageous or too ridiculous. They'll find something. They always do. Okay. Wow, I tell you, the Daily Fail really does have it in for Joe Biden. They really have it in for him. Okay. Well, I'm not seeing that yet, but if that is true, that's good news, I suppose. Yeah, I was looking to see if I could find it, but I don't see it. Oh, there we go. Well, it says here, California Governor Newsom will appoint LaFonza Butler to fill Feinstein's seat. Yep, that's what it says. And that was updated like 15 minutes ago. So California Governor Newsom will appoint LaFonza Butler, the president of Emily's List, to fill the late Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein's seat in the United States Senate. For his office confirmed Sunday evening, Butler will become the sole Black female senator serving in Congress and only the third in the United States history. So she will become the only Black female and only the third in the history of the United States. Feinstein, the longest serving female U.S. senator in history, died last week, aged 90. The selection of Butler, first reported by Politico, comes as Democrats hold a narrow Senate majority and uncertainty looms over New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez's political future amid outcry from his Democratic colleagues. Let me see, he's from New Jersey. Do they have a Republican governor? Several high-profile Democrat candidates launched campaign earlier this year to succeed Feinstein, who announced in February that she would not run for re-election. They include a trio of House Democrats, Adam Schiff, who else? Who was backed by Nancy Pelosi and Katie Porter. Interesting. All right, so there you have it. There is an African-American woman. She will be the third in the history of the United States Senate. Gosh, I still remember Carol Moseley Braun. She was the first African-American senator since Reconstruction, the post-Civil War era, in case you don't know. That's what they mean by Reconstruction. So there you have it. Thank you so much for that information. The seat has been filled, and yeah, so congratulations, LaFonza Butler. Yeah, which is, the point that I was making yesterday. Because, if Meghan was one of those people that raised millions of dollars for the Democrat Party, or was already an office holder and active within the party politics, then there would be that chance that he would say, you know what? She does have the name recognition, but there are people that have been working their way up the ladder for years. And of course, they want someone who's younger, someone who is going to be able to wage a good campaign, and someone who, of course, is a Democrat. So It was a very logical choice, and I think it's one that will please most people. And of course, it will bring some African American representation to the United States Senate, or more of it, should I say. I mean, there's that, what's his name? Tim, what's his name? But then you still have Warnock. So Warnock is there. And remember, there's only 100 senators, 2 for each state of the union. All right, you guys, thank you very much. Have a good night. Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense. You have to have representation. These kids need representation. And after what we saw with that gymnastic team last week in Ireland, that is one of those situations where you have to say representation matters, because if there was a stronger presence, if there was more of a presence of people of color in those spaces, then it wouldn't have taken over a year before we found out something like that happened. We would have found out much sooner, and it would have been dealt with in a better manner than. And by the way, I did see the parents of the girl. I didn't want to talk about that until I actually had a chance to see the parents, and that was it was just as horrible as it seemed. And the parents were very upset about it. And they said the fact that it took so long to get the apology, which only came about because the story went viral. That's the only reason why they apologized. But someone really dropped the ball. And I still believe that Ireland is a very friendly place. They actually had a contestant for Miss Universe, Miss Ireland. Now that upset a lot of people that, someone of African descent was holding that title, but for other people, they were excited about the fact that it shows how progressive Ireland has become. So there's always going to be those two schools of thought. Oh, this is the worst thing ever, the beginning of the end. And you're going to have people who say, wow, I'm so proud to be from such a progressive society. But the thing is, we're here and we're going to stay in these spaces. And for those who just cannot seem to tolerate or get used to the idea that these people of African descent are in these spaces, well, all I have to say to that is bully to you, because we are here and we're here to stay. And we're going to keep filling these spaces, and we're going to keep achieving excellence and such. And despite all of those negative images that they love to perpetuate in the media, most of us are just going about our business and taking care of ourselves and our families, celebrating holidays and rites of passages, just like everybody else in the world. Good night, Anastasia. Good night, Maggie Howell. Ingrid Soares, good night. Thank you. Sonia Johnson, good night. Let me see. I don't know if she would ever run for office. Yeah. Given the fact that you consider how much media scrutiny that Meghan has been under for the past few years, I just seriously doubt that she would ever want to do that. I really do doubt that, because it's been so much already. And stepping into a role like that would be a big deal, And then it would call into question the loyalties, because you have taken, sacred ceremonies to be the wife of a prince, to be the Duchess of Sussex, and so on and so forth. And now you want to be a politician. So it would call a lot of things into question. We went through that with the first Irish Catholic president, where you had um, President Kennedy. People were suspicious of his loyalty to the Pope. That wasn't so long ago. But we have moved on. You have a Catholic president, Joseph Biden, and nobody even discusses religious affiliation. There's not even an issue. Whereas, what was it, 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, it was a big deal. But now nobody talks about it. So we have made some progress with that's concerned, but that only leaves room for the next big thing. And so, would she be biased against the royal family? Would she be biased for the royal family? Right? Is she only doing it for this, or is she only doing it for that? All of those things would come into question. So I hope that as much as I'm having fun with the idea of it, as much as I'm enjoying this vision of seeing what's her name, Angela Levin, seeing her wig crawl off of her head and crawling back into a hole in the ground or wherever it comes from, even though that entertains and amuses me, I still would rather Meghan just stay on the path of philanthropy, charity, humanitarianism. I'd rather she stay on that path. And that way, Angela Levin's head will not explode. Her wig will not leap to his faith or whatever. None of those things would happen. And of course, we won't have to hear Camilla Tominey come up with some new lie. Oh, well, she only did that because she wanted to secure Harry's citizenship, right? I mean, these stories write themselves. There's nothing too ridiculous. There's nothing too ridiculous. So, and of course, I'm not even going to get to Meghan's side of the family, what it would do to them. But then again, there would be a whole new grift that they could achieve if Meghan was president. There would be a whole new grift that would open up a world of possibilities with a President Meghan, Senator Meghan, what do you call it? Postmaster General Meghan, any of those things. How about ambassador? Ooh, what if she was made ambassador to the court of St. James? Now that would be fun. That would be fun. Could you imagine Meghan the ambassador to the United Kingdom? Huh. Meghan going to present her credentials to Charles III. Woo! Now that one, I'm open to that one. Ambassador. How about ambassador to France? Now those positions, the ambassador to France, the United Kingdom, and probably Italy and a few other highly coveted places, those are for people who bring big money into the Democrat Party. You bring in the big money and you can get those very cozy. Now, I would rather be the ambassador to France than president of the United States. Seriously, I would rather be the ambassador to France. That's the ultimate. You're right there in the center of Europe. And of course, imagine the dinners and the galas and all of that kind of stuff. that you would be privileged to. That would be fun. You have a big house to live in. Oh man, those are the really cool positions. Joseph P. Kennedy, wasn't he the ambassador to the United Kingdom, the Court of St. James? That's a good position. Let me see. I'll tell you why. Because it's fun. Because it's fun. And it's nothing that they hadn't thought of already. They just move on to the next thing. So that's why. Because it's fun. And I'm enjoying myself. Thank you for being a killjoy. Let me see. Let me see. The tabloidish have made the world a whole lot less safe for Meghan and her kids. I can't imagine she'd run for office. No, she is unrestricted in how she chooses activism. Yeah, exactly. Meghan's not running for anything. Her intentions were clear while she was still on Suits, that the next big thing in her life was going to be doing exactly what she's doing right now. And why would she change that? It would be too much of everything that you could think of that would go wrong. The only other woman that I've ever seen that has received as much scrutiny from the media was Hillary Rodham Clinton. That's the only other person that I can compare this to. And Hillary has suffered decades of it. Decades of it. Meghan has been going through this since what, 2016, 17? So it's not logical. It doesn't make sense. It's clickbait. It's definitely clickbait. And the tabloids tend to take their lead from the derangers. They have them in their inboxes. They have been using burner accounts and such. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun, but it's not going to happen. Connie Balmer says, Baron, you can continue coffee. Anyone? Well, it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes. I better go. Let me see. Lorna Williams said, oh, that's for someone else. Sorry about that. Oh, it's time for that already. Now, Sonia, how much of the candy actually makes it to Halloween? Because I'm telling you, if I went and bought a bag of Snickers, a few days later, there will be no more Snickers. Yes, if you want the good stuff, you have to buy early. But the thing is, it's like bringing lunch to work. By the time lunch comes along, I'm already full and I'm just looking for a big chocolate chip cookie or something like that. Let me see here. Okay, so let me see. Ambassador to Argentina. She speaks fluent Spanish. That would be fun. That would be fun. Although I'm not sure there's enough to do in Argentina. I would rather be someplace where the action is, Japan or something like that. You know, when was the last time a president went for a visit to Argentina? I mean, don't forget, you pretty much host the president at that time. Oh, that's a cushy job. You know, they have what they call the presidential handbook. And that is a book of positions within the government that the president has to fill whenever he or she is elected. And I want to say there's like some 4,000 jobs that the president selects. And those are for people who raise the money. Those are for people that are active in the campaigns. That's a way of saying thank you. And the thing is, I don't see them doing anything like that where they're doing all the fundraising and stuff like that. I think they're going to steer clear of politics, um, unless it has to do with the welfare of women, like with the letter that Meghan has sent. I doubt if they're going to get involved in any politics. That would cause too much disruption to the path that they're on right now. They can do so much more good in this world just by staying with their foundation and such. Um, yeah, no, VD, that's true. She did work there after college. That's how she got so fluent in Spanish. Sonia Alexander says, I live near Rite Aid, so they get 5, what is that, of candy? 5 pieces? No, wait. They get 5 something of candy. Yeah, like I say, if I buy too early, the candy's not going to survive for Halloween. And it's just what, October 1st, soon to be 2nd for me? Yeah, this is too early. I remember one year that we gave out we gave money. We had like a coffee can that was full of change, and since we forgot to buy candy, I put the coffee can by the door. And when they would open their bags, of course, this was back in the 90s. That was when, you could go and buy your own candy bar. I would just take like a handful of coins and just dump it in their bags. And I can still remember this one kid say, "Ooh, they giving out money." Could you imagine doing that in 2023? Could you imagine that, 2023, giving out money? I mean, number one, you couldn't do less than $1. That would be offensive. And number two, I'm afraid to answer the door now. I am afraid to answer the door. I mean, after all, I am a young, handsome virgin. I'm afraid to answer the door. Let's see. Sussex Team Warrior. I think both the U.S. and Canada saw the writing on the wall with UK interference and passed laws to prevent it. Yeah. There's that. And one of the, if you're speaking about that topic of them getting involved in politics, Harry is still the son of a sovereign, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of little things that we don't know about that is connected with that. Just like today, I heard that the royal family pressured the Americans to destroy their dossier on Louis Mountbatten, that they were putting pressure on them. And a lot of those pressures and favors and stuff that are called in from across the pond are listened to because of the special relationship. And how far that goes, we don't know. I'm sure it varies from one administration to the next, but there is some stuff in the fine print that we will probably never know about. Some little law or protocol or something that we're unaware of, right? Like, for instance, Harry being a council of state. What does that mean? Well, how is that recognized by the United States government? How is that recognized by any government? There's 2 people in the world that don't need a passport. That is actually 3, I think they said: the Emperor and the Empress of Japan, and the what do you call it? The sovereign, if you will, the king or queen of the United Kingdom. And that's it. In all of the world, those are the people that don't need a passport. How true that is, I'm not sure. But that's one of the things that I've heard. And that's something that's recognized everywhere, that they don't need a passport. The Queen certainly has never had one or a driver's license. Oh, you know what? I hadn't thought about that. You mean let them swipe it on their iPhone, their iPhone 14 Pro Max? They have one of those little readers, right? Or how about I Venmo it to you? Oh my goodness, Mary H., you have just made me think of something that I didn't think was a thing, but what if those kids are going around with credit card readers or whatever? Ah, that is something to think about. I hadn't thought about that. Wow. You see, that's what I like about doing these late night, is that I think people are more relaxed and come up with some clever stuff. Of course, it's early morning for some of you all, but I'm a night person. I have kind of given in to being a night person. So that was my harmonica. And I play a terrible harmonica. I'm not good at all, but it's fun. Okay. All right. Are we good? Did everybody tell me off that needs to tell me off? Are we good? Anybody else? Come on, while we're here, while we're on the topic, if there's anybody else who needs to tell me off or ask questions, go for it. I'm here for it. Yeah, but I tell you what, I'm in such a good mood. Nobody is stealing my joy. Let's see. Baron, some of us sleep when you come, but replay helps. Oh, cool. We have a giant animated werewolf. He's about 12 feet tall. Really? Okay. Let me see. Trolls are why. Oh, I'm sorry. Where did that go? There we go. Trolls are why we can't have nice things. So true. So true. I haven't seen a trick nor treater in years. Oh, that's sad, but I haven't either. Oh, Nene, thank you so much for that. Thank you. Oh yeah, they do the Halloween parties because it's safer. It is because, excuse me, you don't have the kids walking the streets, at nighttime and stuff like that. It does make sense. It does make sense. I wonder if do people still take their kids to the rich neighborhoods? Remember how they used to load up the families and take them to the rich neighborhoods because they gave out the best streets? Lydia, now I have fun with all of that stuff. I really do. Oh, I save one of these days I'm going to do some of my troll greatest hits from where they have told me off. Oh, I love it. I love it. It is so funny. Yeah. And there's certain words that are blocked. I won't even say what the words are, but there are certain words that are blocked, and they start all of that troll deranger stuff, and nobody's ever going to see it. Nobody's ever going to see it. I'm not even going to say what the words are, but they mad and they sitting up there. They just, just typing away, steam coming out of their ears, wigs crawling off of their heads. I mean, they are furious, and nobody is ever going to see it. It's so cruel and so funny. They're sitting up there steaming. I mean, like a boiled potato, skin peeling, water murky. They are hot, and nobody is ever going to see it. Nobody can ever hear you, and nobody cares. I am a content creator, and I am drunk with authority. I go into those settings, and I have probably about 50 words. Now, it's up to me to go through it and approve or disapprove what's going to make it into the comments. And I mean, there are these lengthy paragraphs of you ever hear of the what was that guy's name? The the Kluzinski guy, the one that was living in the woods. His manifesto, it reads just like his manifesto. All you got to do is insert Harry, Meghan, and the Sussex squad names in there. It reads just like his manifesto. And they come up with all of these cases and examples. And nobody is ever going to see it. You could see it, but we'll never see it. And that's what's so fun about it, is that they go through all that trouble and nobody is ever going to see it because you used a certain word in a certain way that renders all that effort useless. Ooh, I love it. I love it. I got the power. Hey, hey, hey. I got the power. Getting kind of hectic. Getting kind of hectic. I got the power. There goes that sinister laugh. Oh, that's a lot of trouble to go through for something that nobody is ever going to see, isn't it? Or the other thing is, if it does get through, one of the moderators come through and just click it away. It's just gone. You went through all that trouble trying to make a case about something that don't make any sense, and then nobody sees it. Why bother? Why do that to yourself? Because all we're doing is sitting up here laughing at you. She's not 42. She's 57. Yeah. You're never going to get that 10 minutes back that it took you to write that. You know that, right? You're never going to get that back. You just sat up there and did all that writing or cutting and pasting, and nobody's ever going to see it. And then I love when they try to hide in the comments. They try to hide behind somebody else's comment. Yeah. I see that. Ooh, and some of y'all be giving them those trolls hell. I mean, y'all be giving them hell. I'd be like, ooh. Ooh, I love it. There's a part of me that just loves a little messiness, and it's so funny. She's not a princess. They're not royal anymore. Girl, bye. Bye, Felicia. They're not royal. She's not a princess. And I'm just like, you are obviously a fan. Otherwise, why are you even here? Why are you even here? Thank you for the engagements, by the way. Thank you for the engagements. Thank you for feeding the algorithm so that more people can hate the channel. Thank you. Oh man. Who would have thought that something like that would be so much fun? Oh, mm. That is fun though. They get so personal about it too. My goodness. Mm. Oh, I'm just sitting up here thinking about some of them. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to do a Trolls Greatest Hits so we can all have a good laugh about it. Mm-mm-mm. And then, okay, this is one of my favorites. Why are you bringing up this? Why are you causing more division between the brothers? Why are you saying these things? Okay, you hear one thing I said, and you could multiply that by the 100 things that was in the Express or on Talk TV or on GB News. How come you're not telling them that? Why don't you go into their comments and say, why are you causing this division? Why are you creating this hostility? But instead, you want me to be reasonable? Forget it. I'm not. I'm not. Somebody's got to push back. It's funny though, because even though I'm reading their words, I could almost hear that. Why do you want to create? Why are you sowing seeds of division? Why are you doing this? Why are you taking those comments out of context? Oh, so I should be reasonable and just let them, have carte blanche. Let them just do whatever and say whatever and don't push back at all. That ain't how I grew up. I didn't grow up like that. Um, One of my favorite lines from All About Eve. Do you remember where oh, what's her name? Betty Davis got drunk and she started telling everybody off. And she told her best friend, she said, I'm sorry, Karen. I don't have your unyielding good taste. I wish I could have gone to Harvard. But you see, my father, he needed help behind the notions counter. That's me. I'm sorry I don't have your unyielding good taste. I wish I could have gone to Radcliffe, but I couldn't because my father needed help behind the notions counter. Oh, I love that. Karen with all that reason and accountability and thoughtfulness. Yeah, well, real life don't work like that. Oh God, I hope not. I hope not. Plausible deniability. Plausible deniability. And if you are Harry and Meghan, or if you work for them, under no circumstances should you ever admit the existence of Royal Sussex. You ain't never heard of it. There's nobody doing imitations of the Queen. None of this exists. Um, oh, really? Thank you so much for that. You all, LaFonza Butler, stay with me. LaFonza Butler has been picked to fill the Senate seat. It has been confirmed. Thank you so much for that. You get a bell. I am so relieved to know that they have chosen a woman of African descent for that seat. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Stop. Stop. Okay. Let me check the weather for tomorrow. Let me see here. Stop. Leave me alone. So let me see. Tomorrow is going to be 65 degrees with a high of, no, actually, it's 65 right now. It's going to be a high of 78. That's kind of cool for October, and a low of 63. I like that. Okay, we're good. Hey, Cookies and Cream. You just got here? Cookies and Cream, how is it no matter what time of day I come on, you always seem to come in at just this time? What is that about? Or is that just my imagination? I'm just asking. But it seems like it's always about this time, just in time for the last word of the day. Good morning, Faduma Omar. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. Good morning. Good morning. Let me see here. Still 1,051 of you here. Very cool. Okay, I better go because I'm starting to get weird. Oh, okay. So, according to TB2B, we are still about 87 degrees Fahrenheit, very sunny, and it's fall, but that's normal for us. Oh, very cool. Well, you know what I love about the fall is that you have those rather balmy days when it's like cool and dry and sunny all at the same time. And of course, as the leaves are turning, all you see is that golden light washing over the streets. I love that. One of my it's my favorite time of the year, the fall. Let me see. Mariah has nothing on your high notes. Oh, well, it's practice. It's practice. I have sent many a dog and cat running for their lives, hiding behind the sofa, hiding under the beds. Yeah, some of those notes, only a canine can hear it. Okay, so, well, as a very wise woman once said, what's that? Oh, there we go. As a very wise woman once said, for that. Wow, that still comes out weird. It doesn't sound good. Oh well. So, our last word of the day is good morning, brother. All right, that's it. Thank you so much. 31 degrees Celsius. That's hot, right? 31 degrees? That's kind of hot. Oh, 40 is awful, though, isn't it? 31 ain't so bad, but when it's like 40 degrees Celsius, oh, that's apocalyptic. Yeah. Ooh, that is hot. Yeah, I'm good with cool and dry. Cool and dry is my favorite. Oh, it is hot. Okay. Yeah, I'm not so good with Celsius. I just know that when it's like, 24 degrees, I think that's comfortable in Celsius. And then after that, it starts getting hot, too hot. Or it's 25 cold. I don't know what that is. Yeah. The United States and what is it, Liberia? Are we the only ones still using those old imperial measurements? I remember when they were trying to make us do the metric system. And why did we not do the metric system? Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was awful. I don't care what anybody says. He was awful. There's a newer channel. Well, I think the Invictus Games brought a lot of new people to the Sussex squad. Yeah, I think the Invictus Games. Well, I just hope that for the new people that they don't start off with Royal Sussex. I don't want them to think that everybody's strange. I don't want them to get the wrong idea about the Sussex squad community. It'd be better if they start off with like Anne or Petal or something like that. But yeah, starting off with Royal Sussex, be like, ugh. All that singing and laughing, and what is it with the bell? What is the pulled pork sandwich? I don't understand. What is he always talking about a pulled pork sandwich? You know what I mean? This might be a little bit too heavy to start off with. Yeah, better to start off with something, reasonable, something more pedal. Yeah, something more pedal. Lots of information, and pedal really digs deep. I'm always impressed. Oh, by the way, I did watch pedal today. And Peace was on with pedal. Peace is not just a squatty. Peace is a super squatty, and Peace has really gone the extra mile for the Sussexes, for the Sussex squad. And Peace is very active in fundraising and making awareness for sickle cell anemia, um, which is pretty cool. And I've seen her on television before. So she's on Facts and Two Cents today or yesterday now. And so if you missed it, I'm just saying it would be worth watching it because Peace has a lot of information about the Invictus Games that you may not have heard anyplace else. So that is a good thing, especially for people that are not on Spaces on Twitter. On Spaces or in Spaces, there were a lot of people that spoke about their experience at the Invictus Games. But you could also go and watch Peto's most recent video, and Peace actually talks about her time there, seeing the Sussexes and the team Nigeria and all that. So I watched it today. It was so good. Oh, thank you, Team Sussex Warrior. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think it was an inside job. And like I say, any investigation that involves a chainsaw, it's best to just let that one ride. It's like if you have a dispute with a neighbor, if you happen to notice a chainsaw in the corner, if you've ever seen them using a chainsaw on their property, how about you just pack up all your stuff and move? It might be time to relocate to another state, another country, something. But don't mess with people with a chainsaw. Yes, Teresa McDougal, I love Petal. Okay. Well, oh my goodness, look at this. Almost 3 hours, you all. So I'm fixing to go. Good night. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. I'm gonna cue the Ginger Avenger. And yeah, and I'm gonna stop looking at these comments because that's what's holding me. All right. Oh, and how does the queen get in? Oh, what's that? Man, this new channel started 2015, is out of Kenya, and he has a voice like, really? Are you serious? Do they answer to the name Maria Joseph or Martin Branning? That's interesting. Huh. And it's out of Kenya, huh? That's interesting. Live, love, pray, everyone. Thank you, Teresa McDougall. Yes, and continue to pray for our Sussexes. I love Black Friday, or as we call it in our home, Friday. Not to be confused with Black Saturday and Black Sunday, Monday. None of those things. I'm going to try to go to the car wash tomorrow since it's going to be sunny. All right. All right. Well, good morning, Connie Balmer. Have a good day. Have a very productive day, I hope. Don't forget to send my chocolate and gold bullion. Yeah, that's a good idea. We want to get a feel for some of these newer channels because it's just a good idea. Give them a chance to do their own thing first. It's always important for people to find their voice with their channels too. But also, you know how it is with the Sussex Squad. We have to be sure who we're uplifting and promoting. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. You're not sleepy yet? Well, imagine me taking a nap in the middle of the day. I'm going to be up all night again. All night. And I ran out of Pringles a couple of days ago, so that's kind of bad. There's nothing sadder in the world to me than when I get to the bottom of that can of Pringles, I just throw the can across the room. Yep. That's very sad. Get to the bottom of that can of Pringles. That hollow sound, that haunts me, that hollow sound from the can of Pringles. Yeah, it sounds so empty. Sleep is torture for me, Baron. Yeah. Yeah, as you get older, one thing I've learned about is as you get older, you really value your sleep more than ever before. Sleep is a commodity for some people. Oh, you're at work right now? Oh, very cool. Yeah, that makes sense, Kathy G. That makes a lot of sense. Well, I'll say this, whether it's a Sussex channel, whether it's traditional television, or whoever it is, be careful about negativity. That's all I'll say is be careful about negativity, Sussex friendly or not. But I at least this is my personal thing is I try, I don't mind the information, but if that's all you have is one negative thing after the other, I cannot do it. I cannot do it. Um, Certain things cannot be avoided and should not be avoided, but protect your mental health. Protect your mental health. There's a lot of things that I've seen and I don't share it because I feel like it's in enough places where if you didn't see it, I'd be surprised. Um, so why put yourself through that punishment, especially when it's something that you alone will not be able to fix. But what you can take care of is yourself and your loved ones that you can take care of. So consider that when you take in a lot of that stuff. Um, it won't hurt to let it rest for a day, and then at that point, then after like with the girl with the gymnastics, I felt better after I saw her parents, but I needed to see her parents' face before I could even tackle that one. Um, it just made sense to me. That's just me personally. It just made sense. I would rather hear what her family had to say about it. Let me see. Oh yeah. Hello. 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 Oh God. Yeah, her. Hello. That's what I'm gonna put on my wish list. I'm gonna put a tiara. I'm gonna put one of those tiaras on there so so you have a flashback. uh, I'm gonna put a tiara on there so you have a flashback. Hello. And I'm gonna open up Royal Sussex with hello. uh, Hello. You know, I have to say though, that was one of the reasons why I started Royal Sussex. I'm like, he ain't even talking about nothing. Now, if he could sit up there and talk all that nonsense, surely I couldn't do any worse. Yeah, so that was one of the reasons why I started the channel. I'm just like, if he could sit up there and talk all that nonsense, I certainly couldn't do any worse. So I was like, well, let me see if I can change the conversation a little bit. Hello. Ugh, that just goes through you like a razor. Hello. Uh, Let me see here. Oh, okay. Yeah, I had to pick a good one. And then I can open up with hello and a big ugly brooch to go with it. Gotta have the brooch. Yeah, this is the what did he say? That's the Queen Alexandra brooch and the such and such so and so. Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Did we do Ginger Avenger yet? I think I'll do Once Upon a Time. Yeah.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Now it works properly.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Should I do the Once Upon a Time?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, I'll do Once Upon a Time, and then I'll call it a night. You got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. You never count your money while you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. Yeah. Well, anybody with an English accent is an expert. I found that out. I mean, just look at people on American television. All you have to do is invite some grifter on American TV with an English accent, and they have all the credibility in the world. Doesn't matter. They got all the credibility in the world. I remember before the wedding, I asked hello in the comments. I say, where do you think the best place is to be on the wedding day? He told me the best place to be is to watch it from home. He said, yeah, the best place to be is to watch it from home. So that right there was a loss of credibility. And when I first stopped watching that channel was when I saw all the excitement about Donald Trump's visit. She was getting a little bit too excited for my taste. I'm just like, wait a minute. And there were quite a few people that lit her up at the time. They were like, wait a minute. Hello. Wait a minute. We came here to get away from Donald Trump. And the next thing you know, that was all he was talking about. Donald Trump this, Donald Trump that. So I ended my subscription. And then what really was the deal ender for me, the one that really closed the deal or made the case, was when I was listening to Tina and Michelle that morning, and all of the dirt started coming out where people in the comments were, saying this and saying that. And I was like, oh, yeah, that caught a lot of us off guard. And, it seemed like he was struggling to be fair, but it seemed when nobody was looking, when he thought he was in a safe space and with his, what do you call it, his paid members, they said that she really let her hair down. And somebody went back and told it. And that's when a lot of people jumped ship. So the moral of the story is either either it's in your heart or it's not. Either you believe it or you don't. But the reason and it wasn't so much that what was said was so disagreeable. What the reason why it bothered most people in the squad is because that little channel went from 0 to who knows what, what was it, 150,000 subscribers, these huge numbers every day. So much so that they even managed to quit their job. They went and quit their job so that they could focus on the channel full time. So you have built your household economy with Meghan's name, with Harry's name. You have built a financial success based on those two people. And then you decide, okay, well, I am really here to talk about the institution and everything. Okay, fine. Well, at the very least, be fair. And I will admit that is a lot of pressure for one person to try to maintain a what do you call it? Um, what is the word I'm looking for? Objectivity, impartiality. It would be very difficult if that's not how you feel in your heart. And that is not the reason why they started that channel. He didn't start that channel because of Meghan and Harry, but he stumbled into a gold mine. He stumbled into a treasure chest. He was able to literally print money because of the royal wedding, and people tuned in for it. And to thank Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, as soon as he thought nobody was looking, and that was the downfall. Now, the channel is still there, but things, what is that? Slim pickings? Things are kind of slim pickings now compared to where they used to be. Yeah, you're right, Lydia. Over time, they will. Over time, they will. That's exactly what happens. They start to show their true colors. Yeah, but that's the problem is that you built your channel because of the Sussexes. It would have been so much smarter to just have a separate channel, right? Which is what happened later on. They made a separate channel for Harry and Meghan. The only problem is there's no real audience for it now. But instead of doing that sooner, they did it after the fact. Should have done that sooner. But by then, as they say, the cat was out of the bag. And once you become a pickle, you can never be a cucumber again. Yep. Once you become a pickle, you'll never be a cucumber again. So for that reason, it didn't work. Unfortunate, though. That channel had the most views of any of what we thought were Sussex-friendly spaces, but it wasn't so friendly. Not like we thought it was, anyway. I hadn't seen anything, how they have all those channels that love to say narcissist. I thought we had seen the last of that, and I had stumbled across one yesterday, and I very quickly took it out of my watch history so that it wouldn't come back again. But yeah, there are still people that are using that trope, the angry black woman narcissist trope. There's still people that do that. But the one good thing I noticed is that it wasn't just Meghan, but Meghan is one of the main dishes on the menu. But this person seems to be a misogynist pig who just hates women in general. And so any woman who's in the headlines, any woman with notoriety, he's casting her as a narcissist. And that's what he does for a living, is he decides who is and is not a narcissist. Well, anybody who takes that much license, what does that sound like? A narcissist. That sounds like a narcissist to me. Someone who has all the answers. I guess the worst part about it is that it's other women that perpetuate the hostility, the hate, the innuendos, it's usually other women that perpetuate it. Let me see, monetizing hate and then crying when it catches up to, let me see, there we go. Catches up to you, all credibility is lots. Once defended him because I thought he was being bullied, but quickly I learned the truth. Yeah, well, isn't that what people usually do? Is that they declare that they are being bullied? That's how Trump became president. That's how Trump became president. Have you noticed that all of these men that use misogyny, that go after black women, have you noticed that they all claim to be the victims? They are all victims of the woke, of the liberals, of the left. They're all victims. They play victim. They play victim, and then they accuse you of being a victim. Just like the ones that try to pull the whole narcissist thing, they're usually the ones. They are the perpetrators. They are the offenders, and they accuse other people. In my own personal life, the people that I lose respect for are the people that make those accusations toward me. Those are the people that I lose respect for. Because when you know a person, when you've spent enough time, when you know someone, you know when they're speaking in someone else's voice. You know when someone has planted that idea and they're using it against you, right? So when someone comes out of the blue and makes some accusation that bears no resemblance to the realities, then I can pretty easily figure. So somebody said that you make everything about yourself and now you're accusing me of it. That's just too easy, isn't it? And now I am the accused because someone has accused you of it. I hate when people do that. I hate when that happens, but I've experienced that before, and I'm just like, wait a minute. Let me see. Oh, you mean the hate listeners? Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, when you look at their channels and you see who they're subscribed to, like the list I showed you the other day, if you guys were watching the other day, where I showed that list of all of the hate channels that this person subscribed to, and yet every day they're watching Royal Sussex. Isn't that something? And then there's the person on Twitter who does screenshots and look at everything. My channel, let me see, they were looking at Anne. I'm trying to think who else they were watching. And they did all these screenshots, and then they would send the screenshots to people in the media. Yeah, that's what this person was doing. They would do screenshots and they would send it to the people in the media. So every day they scrutinize every word and then they send it to like the president of YouTube or some whatever, anyone that they think will respond, anyone that they think can make trouble for you. And if they have to lie and take things out of context, no problem. No problem. Let me see. I found Royal Sussex during the Invictus Games. I watched a couple of times before joining because I get really upset when people are negative about Harry and Meghan. Me too. God, that really bothers me when that happens. Yeah, That bothers me. There's a couple of people I stopped talking to because of that. And it didn't even have anything to do with Harry and Meghan. It's because I I seem to enjoy this community too much, that seems to be the problem, right? That seems to be the problem. Um, Sometimes people that are not happy, when they see you have joy in your heart, it could be anything. It could be anything. And if it's something you're interested in, sometimes that will chase people away. Or if it's if you're in a situation where, in this, even if you don't know the other person, when you hear someone say something that is so obviously untrue and so ridiculous and so ingrained in their minds because they have been indoctrinated by this hate campaign against them, it's hard to not say something. But yeah, that's why the Sussex Squad community is so helpful, is because um, you know, there are people who always wanted to see a woman president. There's always people that wanted to see people in spaces that otherwise may not have been available to them before. And so here you get excited about, a black princess. How about that? Only to find out that there is this element of hostility out there and suspicion and accusations, and then her family, and the more people pushed against Meghan, the more I felt obliged to defend her, if that makes sense, because I'm seeing that these things are happening, and I know that that's not true, and yet people will say it with so much authority, like they witnessed it themselves, like the whole microphone thing. Most of the people that are talking about the microphone haven't actually watched the video. I mean, where would they watch the video? And if they have seen it, it is probably in slow motion, or someone has added some effect to it that makes it seem like it's something different compared to what we've all just watched. And again, like so many other things, where it originates from, the lie that is, where the lie originates, nobody knows. But it has been repeated so many times that people assume that it must be true. After all, my best friend said it. So that is a problem. And bury me for someone to strike out against someone that I'm a fan of, and then I decide that I want to push back. But unfortunately, with social media, with the Sussex Squad, at least there is a way to do these things. Princess Diana didn't have that. Princess Diana didn't have a Princess Diana Squad. She didn't have that. Diana had a handful of people that she trusted, and then eventually she found out she couldn't even trust a few of them, and pretty much she was on her own. And all of the things that they used against Diana, all of the tools, all of the tactics, that was the playbook. And then the only thing that's different is the Sussex Squad. That's the only reason why that failed. Or should I say, one of the biggest reasons why that failed is because of the Sussex Squad. If it wasn't for us, things would have turned out differently. They would have been more comfortable, and they would have felt more at ease and more entitled to say and do whatever they wanted to. But fortunately, because of the Sussex Squad, they think twice about it. Just like when Jobo was on one of those shows, he said, "I got to be careful what I say because they got these lunatics, the Sussex squad. Damn right you better be. Damn right. That's the only thing I can say is damn right. But yeah, he was on Talk TV gasping for air and sweating and pooting and farting and everything, and just could barely think of saying something because he knows that we were going to light him up. Yep, we were going to light him up like a Christmas tree. We were going to unpack our adjectives, get our receipt book out, and she didn't want no part of that. So there you go. I call that success. I call that success. That one, we can jot that down as a win. Yep, that is a win. He said it out of his own mouth. You had to be careful what I say. You better. Because otherwise, we are going to embarrass you, sir. We are going to embarrass you. Yeah, go to your burner account and say everything you need to say, but you ain't going to sit up here on public television and get away with that. We made sure of that. Yeah, we got receipts, Linda. We got receipts. And you know what? I am going to have to do some maintenance on my records because I got a bunch of receipts that I need to organize, and I'm not sure when I'm going to do that. So I think one of these days I will do a pre-recorded Royal Sussex for like about 30 minutes. And then I'm going to spend the rest of the day working on my notes and such, because I got a bunch of things, and it's good to, when I'm like doing my slides, it's so easy for me to go and find certain things, but I got stuff that I need to organize going back to April. So that is going to take me at least 2 full days to do that. So don't know when I'll do that. Maybe I'll do it this week, but I do need to do some maintenance on my information, because it has gotten terribly out of hand.
Time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
I'm going to have to make time, though. I'm going to have to make time. Okay, so let me see. Let me see. When I saw what was being said about Meghan, I had to speak up because the person that they were talking about was not the real Meghan. Trolls have invented a person who does not exist. Yeah, I understand. I felt robbed by the way that Meghan was being treated. When I woke up early in the morning back in 1981 and I watched Princess Diana's wedding, right? Marrying Charles, the Prince of Wales. How exciting, right? The wedding of the century. They made such a big deal out of it. And so I said that day that if I ever have a chance to go to a royal wedding, I would love to do that. I just want to be in the crowd. I want to watch all the pomp and circumstance. I'm looking forward to that. So fast forward to 2017, Thanksgiving. The night of Thanksgiving, I saw something on the interweb saying that they had some airline tickets discounted or whatever, now is a good time to buy tickets. So I went on the internet. I went to BA and I bought a ticket for, I think it was April the 12th. And so from April the 12th until June 14th, I think it was, or was it April 14th to June the 12th, whatever it was, I bought the ticket. Didn't know where I was going to stay or anything. Just bought the ticket. And then the next day, I hear something about an engagement, that Prince Harry is engaged to an American actress. I had never heard of Meghan Markle. I didn't know who they were talking about. I heard of Suits, but I never watched it. And so, then after that, there was a date set. And I said, well, I am going to be in Europe. Maybe I'll go to the wedding. This would be my opportunity. And so from the announcement of the wedding date up until the day of the wedding, I was doing all kind of research, learning about Meghan, learning about this, learning about that. I had come up with all kind of stuff that, made me more informed when I stood on the streets of Windsor. And I noticed that before the wedding, they kept saying things like protocol this, protocol that. Oh, she won't be able to do this and she won't be able to do that. And I'm just like, and I'm really enjoying the pictures. I'm enjoying seeing the Sussexes and everything. But then there was always this ending the article or ending the interview or the story or whatever with something negative. And I thought, okay, well, she'll get the hang of the job and maybe they'll leave her alone. Well, they didn't leave her alone. They just kept after her and kept after her. And so I stumbled on to hello. And, and so he would say things like, well, we don't know. And, well, no, and so I was just like, well, that's nice that he's being fair, And so I watched him. Then I found Tina and Michelle. And of course, Hugo Talks. Well, not Hugo Talks. At the time, it was the Harry and Meghan News. But when Hugo was on there, and Hugo was very sassy about the way he talked about the other royals and the reporters and stuff. So that was my go-to. And over time, the negativity just increased and increased and increased. And that happy, excited, elated feeling that I had was kind of, this sick feeling in my stomach. Every time that something good happened, they would counter it with more negativity. And so the more that they pushed against Harry and Meghan, the more I felt compelled to defend them. And here I am, 2023, some almost 5 years later. And that's why, but because I felt like something that I was excited about, something I enjoyed, I felt like something was being taken from me. Not to mention, I cannot stand a bully anyway. And so once you can't just, pretend like you didn't see it, like it didn't happen, like they didn't say that. So yeah, it's been a challenge, and I just try to be as positive as I can. I try not to dwell on those negative stories whenever possible, because there are things that I call into question, and there are things that I call out, point out, and that stuff like that. But I don't want to come on here and from start to finish, give you a laundry list of everything that's wrong in the world. Can't leave people like that. I don't want to be left like that. So we got to try to find something else more positive to focus on. So, and there we have it. Antonio, I checked around time he started the day before. I usually stay within an hour of the day before I give or take. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, no, that's your, oh, that's not from Antonio. That's from TV. Okay. I'm like, what? Okay. You're answering something. Anyway, I guess Antonio's here. You know what? I had to get off of this thing. It is 3 hours and 22 minutes. So let's all say good night or good morning or good day. What's that? Same. I left Twitter years ago. Too toxic, but the ill treatment of Meghan partially brought me back. Instagram shadow banned me because I defended hard. Yeah, I don't usually go after people on the Twitter and certainly not the Instagram, but I do post my little satirical images and such. But I don't usually go after people, but I applaud people who have gone after, other people because, in a perfect world, we shouldn't have to do that. But, sometimes when a bully walks away with a crimson river running down their faces because someone has rearranged their nose, it's something about that that sends a message to the rest of the bullies. Leave so and so alone. They crazy. And then all of a sudden nobody bothers you. So I guess what I'm saying is sometimes you got to do what you got to do, right? So while I don't encourage going after people, and certainly we don't want to make it personal or threaten anybody, but it's something about a nose running with something other than snot. I'm speaking figuratively, of course, figuratively. There's something about that that sends a message to the rest of the community, and all of a sudden nobody bothers you. That is schoolyard 101, right? That is how you survive the schoolyard. You don't let people bully you. So sometimes you have to push back, right? You just have to. So when I'm making fun of the rest of that sordid family, do you know how much better I feel afterwards? Oh God, I feel so good. I feel like a weight has been removed from me. So, and that's why I do it, because I feel better. Let them be the butt of the joke. Let me see. I know I only comment on Sussex friendly Twitter pages. I no longer make comments on derangers' comments, but will defend, go tit for that. Or if someone replies to my comment with trash. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I mean, you know what they say is more room out than in. So if something upsets you and you're holding it inside, that's unhealthy. You have to let it escape. You have to give voice to your feelings. And, hopefully we don't go too far, but like I say, I understand. At the very least, I'm just going to say, I understand. Wait, I'll bail you out. Yeah, I'll bail you out. Yes. Yes, I don't condone, but I will help bail you out. That I'll do. Let me see. Safi Jallo, thank you very much. Thank you. I don't like bullies either. I hate the way these racist jackasses bully Meghan. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly it. They started projection because of stuff that they have accused her of. That is what they have been doing, and that's what they always have done. And you know what? They are justified to be afraid of a wealthy, intelligent American black woman. They are wise. They are wise to be intimidated by her. That's why they don't like to educate anyone. Really, they want to keep the masses as ignorant as possible. Because when you know better, you do better. When you know how to speak up for yourself, it is more difficult for people to give consent to mistreatment when they're educated. That's why they like to keep people ignorant. They want you to stay in a position where you have no place to go. I mean, look at some of the women in the royal family. They're trapped. There's no way they would walk away from that institution. But the empowered, wealthy woman of color was like, yep, I'm up. I'm up. I'm up. I bought a couch. I bought some furniture and some other stuff. We painted. We cleaned up the backyard and everything. I'm up. Keep the couch. Keep the couch. Let me see. Yeah, that was silly to want to go to Montecito for what? That was crazy. And you know what else is crazy? Is 3 hours and 30 minutes now. I'm fixing to go. So I'm not looking at any more. Oh, Antonio, thank you so much for the super stick. I could stay for a few more minutes. I can stay for a few more minutes. No, I'm just kidding. I'm still going to go. But thank you so much, Antonio. And thank you so much for being a member of Royal Sussex. Happy Monday to you. Let me see here. 4 hours? Nah. And thank you, Antonio. I appreciate that. I appreciate the fact that you all trust me to do this work. That means more to me than anything else. Lydia, don't you have to work tomorrow? Monte Cristo, are you here? I didn't know you were here. Okay. All right. So we are going to end with Once Upon a Time, which is like my favorite video. I love Once Upon a Time. I need to change it too because I have to update some of the information on there. But yeah, I love Once Upon a Time. And yes, a handsome virgin. That's me. It is. It is. I am handsome. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Good night, all. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. And oh, you know what? I didn't even bring the video up yet. Hold on a second. Let me get the video. Take a couple of these away. Okay. Here we go. one more time. I love this so much. One more time. Now, does anyone else stand there like you're conducting the orchestra? Because that's what I do. I'm standing up here like I got a baton in my hand and I'm just, waving to the orchestra, leading them and all that kind of stuff. That's fun. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Some new pictures, maybe a new video, and updating the information. 13,000 subscribers. Yeah, we got to change that. But that is so much fun. That's like one of my favorite things ever. I'm all standing up here like I'm, what's his name? John Williams. Is that the one who used to do all those movie themes? Yeah, I'm all up here waving and this and that. Oh man, that is so much fun. Okay, so, and see, just as I was like losing my energy, now all of a sudden I am wide awake. But I'm still fixing to go. All right, so see y'all. See you tomorrow. Sleep well, have a productive day, whatever is in order. And we'll do it all over again tomorrow. Okay? Okay. Shalom and happy Rosh Hashanah or whatever holiday it is. I kind of like that one too. Oh man. So if we're going to do all that, then we have to do Ginger Avenger, right? And then I'm going. All right. Cue the Ginger Avenger. All right. All right, Ginger, on. I agree, Connie Palmer. That's just powerful. I love that. See, if it wasn't for the Sussex squad, I wouldn't even know how to do all these things. I had to try to figure out how to use the software and everything. It's fun to challenge yourself. You know what I mean? That is fun. I like doing that. So I've learned a lot, and it has been very, very fulfilling. So that is something that never gets old, ever. Ah, see? Wow, we said it at the same time. I just looked at the thing and I'm like, never gets old. Oh, man. Yeah, right. It's the sound of the music. Goodbye, farewell, Baron. Yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, so with that, I am out of here. I will see you all later today. It ain't even tomorrow anymore. Later today. Okay. All right. Good night, y'all.